James is having salmon and hash browns this morning. And I'm having hash browns. I was going to put some beans in there, but all I'd cooked was the chickpeas. I don't like them, so I didn't put any in. So, and I forgot to put the garlic in mine, because I like to fry them on the one side first, and so the potatoes, and then add the garlic last so it doesn't get burnt. But anyway, so mine aren't going to be nearly as good. And well, James gets salmon, which is fancy. And then the dogs will get salmon. And the dogs will get hash browns if they want to. So they can have that. And
dog hair, right?
no, me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's correct.
Yeah. Which is when I'm cooking in the house, there gets to be dog hair. A lot of the time, because it floats through the air. It's everywhere.
No, Opie's white hair.
And as I've mentioned before, I am not a great cleaner. But in the summer, I like to cook outside, and this year, I'm cooking outside exclusively.
I'm trying to keep it cool.
Yeah, so the crock pot, everything's out here. And it's working out.
Well, it's kind of kept the house a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
They say it's going to be a hot summer. We've had
And James won't like my song. I was so depressed for years, and I decided, usually it's difficult to stay unhappy if you're trying to sing a happy song. So I decided to start singing in the morning. So I'd sing to Annafred, because I sleep with Annafred. And then lately I've been sleeping with Angel and singing to her, but it doesn't work quite as well. Somehow I have this connection with Annafred. She's my dog, right? But I want Angel to feel special right now, and so that she'll have more motivation to heal, right? And so I've been
and maybe not
cuddling
pee in the house.
That's never gonna work with her.
I don't think so.
What I've learned with Angel is if I pack her around with me all the time, as soon as I set her down, she will pee. So what I have to do is pack her around everywhere, and then set her down outside.
No.
That's the best I can do with Angel. She is not going to change. She's proven that over the years.
She was old when we got her.
Yeah.
Very set in her ways.
So, anyway, James won't like my song that I'm working on today, but I started, hello, hello, my charming beau, you ought to know that I love you. And then it's a duet. So then the other person sings, I know that's true, and I'm glad you do. I always knew that you cared. And then I don't have the rest yet. It's da 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 da. Oh, this time that we've shared, or something like that. I don't know. That's what I have so far.
It's nice when you got a good voice and you can write good tunes for it.
Well, I thought you wouldn't like it because I don't have the accents really right. If you look.
Just a minute. Oh.
It's just what was coming into my head this morning.
Yeah, I wasn't noticing the accents going on. It's not like Alanis Morissette.
Well, it's possible.
She'll mess up accents. She used to. Maybe she's gotten better. Yes, it's almost 30 years since she made it big. A little bit less. 25. Can't
So what do you have to talk about today?
Checking out some of the George Floyd footage on the internet. There's a whole lot more out than a year ago. It's pretty hopeless when you got people. You got the police footage now. The body cam footage, and people see what they want to see. They're delusional. There was this one thing where on the internet it was taken by some sort of outsider, I don't know what vantage point, of the police van or whatever, where they had him in, and all you could see was one side. The cop was kind of struggling. He had his feet set. That was the side they put him in on, or sidewalk side. And then there were a couple of cops, as I recall, over on the other side, struggling away. And so one one person had this comment, "Can't you see?" It was something like, "Can't you see? They're beating him up in there. You couldn't see what's happening, you know." And then when you check out the body cam footage, you can see they're just struggling with him, trying to get him arranged in there. So, you know, there was a counter comment, was, "You can't see what's going on." No, you can't. And that's the trouble with folk ocean. You can't see what's going on. Even with the body cams, you'd be making things up. But yeah, making things up, putting the worst construction on things. So I can remember saying to someone who's really probably still head up about the whole thing, saying, you know, he was in a police. Man, they got him in there. No, okay. I just read that, but it was from someone who seemed to be responsible. No, absolutely not. They never got him in a van. And this is a person with a PhD and very positive about it. You know, I'm going, well, I think they did, you know. The person is reporting. Later on, you know, I'd seen the footage where they got him in the van or the vehicle. So the person's never apologized to me. It was absolutely shameful, and it still is. But then, you know, like we've kind of established now, yeah, they did have him in the van. So I said, you know, they let him out. No, they didn't. You mean to say they let him out and let him off? And I'm going, that's an expression. You know, like what the person was doing was the fallacy of equivocation. You know.
I forgot to pick that up.
So they let him out. They were being kind to him. Now, guy was yelling, maybe even screaming, that he was claustrophobic. Okay. Now, I'd like to know what he was like when he was on trial for holding a gun to a woman. Apparently wasn't to her, a pregnant woman. It wasn't to her stomach. You know, and you get the photos just saying, see, you know, he's an okay dude, because it wasn't to her stomach. Wow, talk about foolishness. So if he pled guilty, then maybe he didn't lie, but I'm afraid he was fighting it. It says he was fighting his arrest. So I'm afraid the guy's just an inveterate liar. So he's saying he's claustrophobic. He's fighting putting them in there. Now, when I say fighting, he's not punching or anything like that, but he's resisting. He's resisting arrest. If you're a person of color, it's just like if you're a white person, anywhere in democracy, you don't have the right to resist arrest. You just don't have the right to resist arrest. Unless you're doing absolutely passive demonstration, right? You've announced to the police and the powers that be, we're having a demonstration here. We're going to go like a limp, like a sack of meal or something like that. You're going to have to work to drag us out. We don't have the right to go, hold on and stuff like that. Yeah. So they get him in the vehicle, and for some reason or another, I think they were possibly being kind. He was claustrophobic. Let's let him out. Let's get an ambulance for him. I don't know who ordered the ambulance up. I know one Fogos was saying, well, it was ordered up by passers-by. I don't know. Okay. I'm very sure about it. And I'm going, I don't know. I assumed the cops ordered it up for him, but one thing I'm going to have to check out. Who ordered it up? Maybe several people put an order in it. But in this day of cell phones and stuff like that, if you're at a dispatch center and something goes wrong, one of the problems is the dispatchers are just having to deal with everyone in this monkey putting in, saying there's a car accident. I've been there, done that. A car accident, I can remember one particularly bad. It must have been a bad incident. It was northeast of town here in Lethbridge. It was like there was a phone call coming in every half minute, it seemed like. And the cops are just saying, or the dispatchers were saying, we know about it. Yeah, we know about it. They're being nice, Yeah, we know about it. Yeah, we know about it. So they're letting him out. That's an expression, okay? They didn't say, hey, boy, or George Floyd. I don't think they'd arrest him as boy. Hopefully not. George, come on out. We're being kind to you. Because they're trying to get him out, and this is an indication of how claustrophobic the guy is. He's fighting them when he's resisting them. Don't misinterpret the thing. He's resisting them when they're trying to get him out of the vehicle. If I'm claustrophobic and someone's trying to get me out of a vehicle and I'm suffering from a claustrophobic fit, I don't fight him.
Well, you don't know because you're not claustrophobic.
Oh, I am.
Okay.
I had trouble when I saw my mother in a coffin. Mm-hmm. And it was right after that I was taking a Greyhound bus to Regina, and I was in the back of the bus and I got claustrophobic. Mm-hmm. I felt like going up and saying, just let me out, right on in the middle of the road. So that kind of made me antsy anytime I was in a vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. So I actually know what it's like. If someone had stopped the vehicle, they wouldn't have had to drag me out. I would have gone out of my own accord. I just used some breathing techniques to relax and worked out okay. So I actually got over it. That's when my mother died, was when it started. That was 2003 maybe? 2004, like early 2004. And I didn't get over it until I took the plane up to Grand Prairie. And I'm on this plane. This is 2011. So that lasted 7 years. Anytime I was in a cramped transportation, means of transportation, I'd get uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So I was on the plane and I'm going, I don't know what's happening to me. as it turns out, I was, at that point in time, I would have been borderline classed as terminal with cancer. So I was going, if the plane goes down, I really don't have much to lose. And I really didn't. My life was worth the plug nickel at that point in time. Anyway, they pull him up. People are saying, "Oh, he was totally passive." No, he wasn't. You also get this comment, "Hey, let's do this as though it's from someone in authority." When you put someone on their stomach, like they had with George Floyd, they're vulnerable. They can die easily. Okay. Why did they put him on his stomach? Well, when they get him out of the vehicle, I don't want to overstate the case. To say he's kicking is maybe a little bit too strong. I try to be accurate. But he's lashing out at them, from what I can see, with his feet. Wow, that's incredible. Here's this big 200-pound guy, steroid abuser from the looks of it, but over 6 feet, well over. He's a little bit up in age, maybe 46. But he's lashing out at these cops with his feet, and he can move them. I mean, people's legs are very powerful. If they're muscle, you can move a lot with your legs that you can't even move with your hands. You look at weightlifters, and weightlifters that don't use, I've been there, done that, training for track, they don't use their legs, I'm not going to be like world class or anything like that. Not to say I was world class, but that's what we were taught. We were doing the classic weightlifting lifts, and we were taught by a guy who actually was a field coach for at an international level.
You can take any of that?
Yeah, in a second. So they put him on the stomach to protect themselves. Because where did they drag him? They made a mistake doing it. They dragged him into traffic. The vehicle is parked in the parking spot. They dragged him. They put him in the vehicle from the sidewalk side, and then they dragged him up. And what you got here is traffic on what seems to be a fairly busy street. So anytime Floyd was kicking at them, I want to say kicking, or lashing out with his feet, he could have put them into traffic. The head could have been under someone's wheel. The traffic was slowing down. But if it happened quickly, someone could have just gone over one of those guys' heads if he'd been tipped over by Floyd.
Oh, it should be this precious time that we've shared. That's what it should be. So 2 lines I need to come up with in the middle.
That was, had something like the ending plan. Anyway, he had been tipped over, and
okay, are you going to take some so I can put it away?
I didn't know. Anyway, tipped over into traffic.
I don't want the flies getting
No. And I know one person who got to see something like that happen in Lethbridge. There's a bus coming into a stop. It wouldn't be going fast. Well, a person fell in front of the bus, got under the bus wheel, and the bus just popped that person's head. That could happen to any one of those guys, at least the people at George Floyd's feet. So that's why they had him on the stomach. A big strong guy, when he's on his stomach, he'd rear up, get those guys. They're trying to keep him under control, and move him into traffic with his body. That's why Well, I can tell. Chauvin, or Chauvin, as his name should be pronounced, put his knee on the guy's neck to restrain him. Now, I've seen what purports to be the Minneapolis guideline for when to use that particular hold or restraining move. And it's to protect the officer or the person being restrained. Did Chauvin have a reason for fearing for his or other officers' safety? Okay. I'm a left-winger. I'm going to tell you Fogoshes out there, you fake left-wingers, to take off your rosy-colored glasses, no, your pinko-colored glasses, and look at reality, not this stupid dream world that you fantasize, and you've been fantasizing for 200 or so years, going back to Proudhon and predecessors, Robert Owen, and what Marx called utopian socialists. Take off those pinko-colored glasses and look at reality. Stupid morons. Oxymorons. Now, I don't know what Chauvin's motivation was for it. I think he was the guy who would have made the call to pull George Floyd out. Into traffic. It could have been, I think he was maybe trying to alleviate the purported claustrophobia. I think he might have been the guy. I want to check. You know, I'm going to say, darn tootin', this is the way it is. Check some stuff out, you idiots. But I think he was actually, I still wasn't able to find which side they brought the ambulance in on. But my suspicion is they brought it in on the traffic side. He wanted the guy out of the vehicle. He didn't want the ambulance sitting there facing into traffic. And, you know, he was right. I mean, pulling George Floyd out of the vehicle took a horrible amount of time. So, you know, like whether he's doing it for efficiency or out of concern for the guy's safety or comfort or something like that, I don't know. It could have been both. And that's why it's absolutely shameful. You know, the guy was, from what I can tell, was totally misrepresented by the person who was acting as a lawyer. Apparently, Chauvin did not testify in his own defense. Maybe he'd make a bad witness, but when he does not testify in his own defense and say why he did these sorts of things, it's just saying, hey, you know, send me to the gas chamber. Well, I don't think they have the death penalty there in Minnesota. It's a fairly liberal state. In fact, it might be one of the more liberal states in the United States. I mean, Hubert Humphrey came from there. Did Eugene McCarthy come from there? Yeah, you know, I want to know what that guy's motives were like. As I've said before, from the autopsy, the real autopsy, not the one done by Hennepin County, the first one, the real one, and definitely not the one commissioned by the family. A guy died of a fentanyl overdose. I don't think there's much a person can do without equipment to handle fentanyl overdose. A lethal fentanyl overdose.
I should have given you some first because you were so good over there.
That is something I'm going to be checking out, whether you need equipment to revive someone. There's a lot more to be researched. It's from my part. The justice is railroaded Chauvin. It's badly. It's very badly. What's happening right now with cops in the United States. In a form of McCarthyism, only it's way worse. McCarthy was actually going after commies. I don't think he did a very good job of doing it. And maybe got a little bit overly zealous. When you're witch hunting, you're hunting something that doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. When you're hunting commies exist, and they're a threat. They're a lethal threat, a mortal threat to human beings. When you're hunting cops who, from what I've seen from Black Lives Matter, all the stuff that they're making a fuss about, the cops are just doing their jobs. You know, the cops didn't go out after George Floyd. They were called in by a store or a store operator, convenience store operator. They're called in. It's not as though they made a stop. They're seeing someone driving a luxury vehicle. Hey, the guy's black. Let's bust his chops for this. Let's kill him. Chauvin's got witch hunted. Now, generally, for it to be a witch hunt, like a real witch hunt, and not something melodramatic, a melodramatic overstatement, someone's got to be killed. There are going to be cases with Black Lives Matter where they'll be getting together their lynch mobs, and the cops will be facing the death penalty. So I'll be checking out a few more things. Stay tuned. But you should really be checking this stuff out objectively. I know it's hard for you guys because you're just out of sight crazy. But there you go. Anyway, what are you going to say?
I think it goes, hello, hello, my charming beau. You ought to know that I love you. I know that's true, and I'm glad you do. I always knew that you cared. I'm really glad that I met you. I'm really glad that you're there. Hello, hello,